Hey everyone, it's artist in residence Brooke here. Today we are doing an abstract butterfly wing artwork. I'm using a pencil, color pencils, and just a rectangular piece of paper. I'm starting by doing a light sketch with my pencil. It's a little hard for you guys to see here, but later on I do go over it to make it a little darker. At the same time, however, you really don't want it to be too dark because then it starts to show through with your pencils. So just do it however dark you need it to be for you to be able to see it. And if you want a different setup of your butterfly wings, that's okay as well. Like I said, it's an abstract piece, meaning that it doesn't have to fully make sense. There's a touch of realism, but at the same time, it's more about an artistic perspective. So I feel like this wing that I'm working on now, the bottom wing, it makes a little more sense. And the top wing, it's almost just filling in the remainder of the space, the background space. So in art, you have your foreground and your background, and to me, the front wing, which is in yellow and orange, is the foreground, and the blue wing in the background is the background. But if you wanted two wings side by side and then fill in the negative space with just a different color, like a blue sky, as if the butterfly is just flying in the air, that's okay too. So I'm starting with my white color pencil. This just helps to keep some of that light space so that we don't get too dark. Because with color pencils, it's hard to get lighter once you've already gone dark. Unlike paint, where the white paint will just sit on top, the color pencils just gradually get darker as you're adding more color. So the white just helps to preserve a little bit of that lightness. Next, I'm going in with my yellow. And as you can see, I'm not quite filling in the entirety of the space. It's kind of like a random sporadic, parts are darker, parts are lighter. I even left a little white space. Then I'm going in with the yellow-orange color. And this is where I start to make it a little streakier. As you can see in the yellow and orange butterfly wing, there's just those lines to really show the texture of the wings. And again, I'm just making some parts a little lighter, some parts a little darker, and it's all just kind of random. Just go with whatever you feel like looks good. The stripes that I'm making are not all uniform. They're not all the same. If anything, it just looks more natural for them not to be all perfect and the same. So this is your chance just to relax and do whatever feels right to you. Since, again, this is abstract, we're not really focused on making it look perfectly realistic or copying a wing exactly how it looks. We're just placing color in a way that looks and feels right to us. So we have some parts that are lighter, some parts that are darker, and next I'm going in with the orange and just further adding more lights and darks, adding more of the lines and streakiness. And as I'm doing this, I vary the pressure of my pencil a little bit. So obviously the parts we want to be darker, we press down a little harder, and the parts that we want to be lighter, we press down lighter. That's pretty straightforward. Most people have had experience using pencils in their life and understand that basic rule of thumb as you're getting your lights and darks. And in any piece of work, of art, you do want some variation of value, which is basically just saying how light or dark something is. So we're just getting a range of value, even though we're using just the same color at that point. At this point, though, I am switching colors again and using a red-orange. I like to get in a little bit on my edges That's just a personal preference. So as you can see on some of the edges, I do get a little darker. And again, I'm making sporadic lines and capturing some texture and color variation. Just doing the same thing, but with a different color. And next, I'm doing an underlayer on the black part of the wing. It's similar to the technique as with the white. It's helping me preserve a little bit of lightness, and it's helping to give the black some underlying color to enhance the vibrancy of it. Black can tend to be a really flat color, so adding color underneath just really helps to give it more life, helps it to pop. So as you can see, I went in with my white pencil and now I'm going in with a darker blue pencil. And similarly with the orange spots on the wings, orange and yellow spots, I'm making some spots lighter and some spots darker. I'm not making it just one uniform color. It's all just kind of random. I'm like, here I'm gonna do a little lighter, here I'm gonna do a little darker, and so it's almost just like alleviates the pressure, right? Like it doesn't all have to be the same and perfect and perfectly smooth and everything else. And now I'm doing those little spots. I went in with the lightest yellow I have and then did the same thing that I was doing before. I didn't quite fill in the whole space with the yellow, just little parts of the circles. And then as I was looking at my piece, I did decide to add a little bit more value, so I went in with the darker red pencil. And now I am filling in my black space. On the first piece I used a black color pencil. On this one, I actually decided to experiment with the charcoal pencil. And that was really fun. It did get a little messier, but I love how dark it is without really even having to press down hard. The charcoal pencil they're a lot of fun if you haven't used them before. And it definitely helped me to get darker easier without having to press down and, strain your hand. And like as I was doing before, I left a little bit of lighter space, and for those lighter spaces, I actually did decide to go in with my black color pencil, and it was all a little bit experimental for me. I wasn't sure how they would look together or what would happen, but the black color pencil certainly was much lighter than the charcoal and helped me to capture some of the lights with my darks. And now I'm basically just outlining all the shapes that I've colored in and filling in all of that space, while also being careful not to drag my hand in the charcoal because it did start to smear a little bit and get on my hand, which is totally okay. You can always go in with an eraser. Color pencil doesn't erase quite as well as regular pencils, but you still can erase it, especially like when I started to get it outside of my border. It got a little smudgy, and I went in with an eraser and it was fine. Just make sure your eraser's clean before you go in and do it. Don't erase a black color pencil and then try to erase another spot. You can just rub it on a piece of fabric to clean it off, or erase a different scrap piece of paper. And now I'm moving on to our blue background wing. I chose blue because the blue butterflies are my favorite, and it's also just a nice complementary color to the orange tones I have in the other wing. So we have blue and orange, which are complementary colors, and that just means they work really well together and they give each other some contrast. Another thing to notice is that it's a cool color to go along with the warm color that we have in the front. So adding cool and warm colors together helps just bring your piece to life and give it a lot more interest, in my opinion. But if you wanted to make it another orange wing, you totally can. I like how the orange wing is almost like a monarch butterfly. So if you love monarch butterflies, you can make the whole thing in the yellow and orange color. And the technique I'm using right now is really the same thing I did on the first wing, but I'm just using different colors. But similarly to the first one, I am using the blue color pencil before I go in with the black. Again, I really like how the blues look under the black and help to give it a little more vibrancy. And adding some more value to and shades to the blue parts of the wings, while also leaving that white space. So I'm purposefully not just doing a one shade along the whole thing. I'm making it lighter, darker, and purposefully leaving some white space, so that way the whole thing doesn't just end up being one dark blob, pretty much. But there's really no rhyme to my reason. I'm just whatever feels right. Again, like I said before, I think sometimes we get too much in our heads while we're doing art and forget to focus on just feeling it, and I truly believe your intuition can never steer you wrong. I'm going in with some white before I go in with the black, and then I start going in with my black. I actually am using my black color pencil for this one. Since it is a background wing, it's going to have a little bit less saturation than the front one, because whatever's farther away, it's not going to be quite as vivid. But then for some of the outlining parts, by outline I just mean the part around the blue, I did go in with the darker charcoal pencil. It's all totally up to you. If you only have a black color pencil, you can still capture the value with just how much you're pressing down on it. And we're just filling in that space, leaving a little bit of lightness. And also getting in some of the darkness. This is my favorite part of the whole piece. I like how these little circles kind of look like a mosaic almost. It's like when I was drawing them, I was fitting them in like puzzle pieces, little stones in a mosaic. I think it would be really cool to make a mosaic that looks like butterfly wings. Get a bunch of glass pieces or stones or even pieces of paper. That would look really cool. And, you know, as an artist, sometimes it's hard for us to be satisfied. So I did go in with the blue again, giving it a little bit more value, adding some more darks with the darker shade of blue. Adding in a little bit of whites, just getting all that value contrast. And here I am, erasing the border, like I said, and now the most satisfying part, peeling off that tape, revealing the crisp edges. If you didn't do that, that's okay. The tape just really helps get a nice, straight, crisp border. Just helps the piece look clean, and maybe could help whenever you frame it, if you decide to do that. But I hope you guys enjoyed today, and I can't wait to see the butterfly wings you create. Oh, can't forget to sign it. Be proud of your work. Bye, guys.